He was supposed to sing in the school choir that night, but everyone thought someone else would take his place. His shoes were worn out. His name was barely on the list. But by the end of the performance, no one could stop talking about him. Not the school, not the town, not even social media. This is the story of Jack Parker, and how one boy turned ridicule into a standing ovation. The bell had just rung. Feet shuffled through the narrow hallways of Dunwood High School, lockers slamming, sneakers squeaking, laughter bouncing off the walls. Jack Parker walked with his head slightly down, not out of shame, but habit. He wasn't invisible. Not really. People saw him. They just didn't look at him long enough to care. His shoes, scuffed, peeling at the toes, the left sole nearly unglued, were more recognizable than his face. People didn't say his name when they whispered. They said, "The kid with the bust in the choir room, chaos, 30 students, 1 director, and 1 upcoming winter concert that everyone pretended not to care about but secretly wanted to shine in." Mrs. Latimer stood in front of the whiteboard, already exasperated. "All right, listen up. We need 2 soloists for the finale. Rise again. 1 male, 1 female. Auditions start now." There it was. The room tensed. People looked around, calculating. Who would go first? Who shouldn't even try? Jack stood in the back corner. No one looked at him. Why would they? He never even raised his hand in class, let alone volunteered to sing in front of hundreds of sneakers. Names were called. Voices cracked, soared, trembled. Some were good, some were enthusiastic. Then, a name barely above a whisper. "Jack Parker?" Mrs. Latimer blinked. "I'm sorry, did someone say Jack?" Heads turned. A few students stifled giggles. "Jack Parker, that Jack." Someone added, "The janitor's kid?" Jack stepped forward. Quietly. No fanfare. Just the sound of his left shoe peeling from the floor as he walked to the piano. He didn't look at anyone. He didn't need to. Mrs. Latimer frowned. "All right, Jack. Whenever you're ready." Silence. Then, he sang. No music, no instruments, just Jack's voice. Soft, low, steady. And then it rose, clear, unapologetic, haunting. The room, which a second ago had been filled with suppressed snickers, was now frozen. Phones weren't out. No one dared laugh. One student even lowered her gaze, embarrassed at how she'd rolled her eyes just minutes before. When he finished, there was no applause, just silence. And then Mrs. Latimer said, almost too softly, "Jack, would you consider doing the solo?" Someone posted a photo of his shoes with the caption, "Soloist or Salvation Army." It got 78 likes in an hour. Jack saw it, but he didn't respond. He was used to not being invited into people's conversations, but this time he was about to own the stage. The gym was packed. Parents filled the bleachers. Teachers stood along the walls. The mayor was even there, front row. Jack waited backstage. He hadn't told his mother he had a solo. She thought he was just part of the choir. She worked overtime to afford a new shirt for him. Couldn't afford new shoes. But the shirt? Crisp white. That was her gift. Mrs. Latimer whispered to him just before he went on, "You belong here." Jack nodded. No need to speak. He knew. The spotlight hit him first. He walked center stage. Murmurs in the crowd. Some kids smirked. A few parents leaned in. And then he opened his mouth. His voice cut through the room like a knife through still air. There were no harmonies to hide behind now, no safety in numbers, just Jack, and that voice. His voice didn't ask for attention, it commanded it. By the end of the first verse, you could hear people holding their breath. By the chorus, phones were out, but not to mock. They were recording. When he hit the final note, the gym erupted. Not just applause, a standing ovation. The next day, the video hit 100,000 views, then 500,000. By the weekend, 2.3 million. Jack Parker's name was trending. He got a message from a record producer, an invitation to perform at the State Music Festival, even a scholarship offer. But Jack didn't talk about any of that. He kept wearing the same shoes, at least for a while. He said, "They remind me of where I started." When asked how he felt about the people who mocked him, he just smiled. "Some people need noise to feel powerful. I prefer music." Years later, his first album was titled Worn Souls. On the cover, his old shoes, polished, cracked, but standing tall. And the quote on the back? "They laughed at my shoes, but couldn't walk a step in them."